Investors and lawmakers are watching Facebook. The stock rebounded after the Federal Trade Commission confirmed yesterday that it is, in fact, investigating Facebook's data privacy practices. The announcement set the stock down more than 5% to levels not seen since July of last year. But we're seeing a little settling of it this morning. Joining us right now to weigh in is the former FTC chairman and George Washington University law professor, William Kovacic. Commissioner, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. You were with the agency when Facebook was first under investigation over claims that it misled users by making private data public. The FTC and Facebook eventually announced a settlement in 2011. Tell me what you think the FTC is most interested in looking at now with regard to Facebook as you see it.
At a high level, the Commission is going to be looking at whether or not its effort in 2011 and 2012 to set a template for privacy in the information services sector is working. There's a fairly powerful clause in that settlement that says that Facebook will establish a system designed to ensure that data protections built into its commitments are fulfilled, that third parties respect those commitments, and that the information that its users provide is held confidential. So in a fundamental way, this is a test of whether or not that approach is working with some fairly powerful sanctions built into the background.
But they haven't done any of that, right? I mean, when you see what's been taking place, whereas all these third-party companies can come in and get access to your data, and the way that things move so fast, can this company be regulated, or is, data going in and going out too hard to track?
This is a real test of whether the approach that the FTC adopted at the beginning of the decade is adequate to fulfill that task, because the FTC assumed that the combination of the broad, overarching promise to provide a system for compliance and monitoring would work. It enlisted the help of a third-party outsider to audit this system every 2 years, and there are other commitments that are built into the agreement. I think what the FTC is going to be looking at in a basic way, beyond the technical issues about whether Facebook violated the law, is whether its entire approach to data protection and privacy is working.
Hi, William. Kristen Tate here. Facebook seems to be on the decline, separate from regulation. I think there could be a free market approach to this. People are abandoning the site in droves as they realize how their information is being used. Even Elon Musk says he wants nothing to do with it now. 2 million people under the age of 25 are expected to quit the site this year. So do you think this is the beginning of the end for Facebook?
I doubt it. I used to have a supervisor who put things in 3 categories: the good, the bad, and the don't overreact. I suppose I'd put this in the 3rd category, don't overreact. It's been such a powerful and attractive service for so many individuals. It would be hard to imagine that an immediate decline is possible. But without a doubt, I think there's going to be a deep amount of retrospection, as well as the external review, to see whether the mechanism by which they put promises to their users is adequately fulfilled.
Well, I believe in a free market, too, Kristen. But again, the free market isn't working because I said last week there was a former Facebook employee quoted in the Wall Street Journal. He said their method of enforcement was literally calling people on the phone and yelling at them. It was like, oh, my God, I can't believe that you took people's data that you shouldn't have. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Stop it. That's Facebook's enforcement. Yep. And so you're inviting regulators into your front door when you treat your customers that way and the users.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think regulation might be necessary. But what's really funny is that a lot of these young people abandoning Facebook, as we were talking about during the break, are going to Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. And
that's true.
Their info is being used in the same exact way.
That's a really good point. Do you think regulators are understand that it's not just Facebook and the 2 billion users there? They own Instagram. I mean, do you think they're looking throughout the company in terms of practices at all of their businesses?
I think this is going to be an occasion for the FTC to do exactly that, because one of the basic commitments, the philosophy embodied in the settlement in 2011-2012, was that there would be a company-wide system put in place to ensure that promises are fulfilled. So I think this is a chance for the Commission, and I think they will take it, to look at a basic way about how privacy policy is applied inside the company and whether the agency needs a rethink about how it's doing business here.
So, Commissioner, this is Ankur Jain. I'm curious to ask you, how do you actually think regulation might look in a world where consumers want to own their data and have the right to move it from Facebook to any other platform, but at the same time want the security and privacy of the companies that they share it with not then abusing it. I mean, is it now Facebook's responsibility? Is it the third-party company that I authorize to access that Facebook data? How do you control that? I mean, what does the regulation look like for that?
I think you start by asking who's in the best position to carry out that monitoring and oversight function. Is the best place to put that responsibility on the platform owners and to say it's your job to pick your agents, your third-party partners, very carefully. That's the philosophy of the existing framework. That is, the Facebooks of the world are in the best position to do that kind of monitoring and oversight. The inquiry that's going on now is an opportunity to test whether or not that assumption is sound.
Let me ask you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to quickly add, I think that young people and the American people and even people around the world have been sold a steaming sack of garbage by Facebook in some way because, again, they were asking people to become deeper, go deeper and deeper into their lives, collecting more and more data from these individuals, promising, oh, a better social experience. Like, we're doing this for you. They're this benevolent giant.
Yeah, share with your friends. Tell your friends everything.
I need to know where Maria is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week via Facebook.
And I don't need you to know all of that, by the way, okay?
Who's, by the way, your location service is totally off on your phone.
Thank you.
For everything.
That's
for
it
every
is.
app.
100%.
But I feel
Even
like
when I need directions.
that they have been preaching nonsense.